My girlfriend posted, "Sometimes you have to lose me to realize my worth." I liked the post, and said nothing. 2 months later, she saw who I was holding hands with, and finally realized what she'd lost. My name's Marcus, I'm 30, and until 8 months ago, I thought I had my life figured out. I was dating Vanessa for 3 years. She was 28, worked in marketing, drove a leased BMW she could barely afford, and had this thing about appearing successful on social media. Everything had to look perfect. The restaurants we went to, the clothes she wore, the trips we took, it all had to be Instagram-worthy. I didn't mind at first. I run a small but growing software consulting business, so I could afford to keep up. What I didn't realize was that I was funding an image, not a relationship. The beginning of the end started on a Tuesday night in February. We were at her apartment, and she was scrolling through her phone while I worked on my laptop. I had a big client presentation the next day, so I was distracted, barely paying attention to her. "Babe, do you think we should go to Tulum next month?" she asked, without looking up. "Tulum? That's like $4,000 minimum. I've got payroll coming up and I'm trying to save for the new office space." She finally looked at me, and I could see the irritation in her eyes. "You always say you're saving for something. When do we get to actually live?" "We just went to Miami 2 months ago, Vanessa." "That was for New Year's. That doesn't count." I closed my laptop. "What do you mean it doesn't count? We dropped $3,000 on that weekend." She rolled her eyes. "You're so focused on money lately. It's like you've changed." That comment stuck with me because it wasn't true. I'd always been financially responsible. What had changed was that I'd stopped saying yes to everything. I was building something real with my business, and that required sacrifice. When I started my consulting firm 4 years ago, I was working 80-hour weeks, sleeping on an air mattress in a studio apartment, eating ramen most nights. I'd clawed my way up from nothing. Now I had 12 employees, steady contracts, and actual savings. I thought she understood that. Apparently, I was wrong. The arguments became more frequent after that. She wanted to move into a bigger apartment in a trendier neighborhood, specifically a high-rise in downtown with floor-to-ceiling windows and a rooftop pool. The rent was $3,800 a month, nearly double what she was paying. I suggested we wait 6 months until my biggest contract renewed. She pouted for 3 days. She wanted to lease a new car because hers was 2 years old already, and everyone at work has newer cars. I told her that was insane, that her car was perfectly fine and paid off. She accused me of being embarrassed by her. Every conversation about the future turned into a fight about money, and every time I tried to explain my perspective, she accused me of being cheap or not prioritizing her. What she didn't understand, or didn't want to understand, was that I was prioritizing our future. I wanted to buy a house eventually, start a family, build something stable. But she was stuck in this cycle of consumption, always needing the next thing to feel validated. I remember one specific fight in late February. We were supposed to go to her co-worker's birthday dinner at some upscale steakhouse. I'd had a brutal week. One of my developers had completely botched a major deliverable, and I'd spent 60 hours personally fixing the code to avoid losing the client. I was exhausted. I suggested we skip the dinner and have a quiet night in. "Are you serious right now?" Vanessa said, already dressed and ready to go. "I already told everyone we're coming." "I'm just tired, babe." "Can't we stay in just this once?" "We stay in all the time now. You're always working or too tired or making excuses. Do you know how embarrassing it is when people ask where you are and I have to make up reasons?" "I'm not making excuses. I'm building a business. This is temporary." "You've been saying it's temporary for 2 years, Marcus. When does it end?" "When I have enough saved to feel secure. When I don't have to worry about one bad month destroying everything I've built." She grabbed her purse. "Fine. I'll go by myself. Again." She left, and I sat there in her apartment, staring at the TV, feeling like the worst boyfriend in the world. But I also felt something else. Resentment. I was working this hard partly for us, for our future, and she couldn't see past the next Instagram story. Then came the Instagram post. It was a Friday night in March, around 11 p.m. I was at my apartment working late because one of my developers had quit unexpectedly, and I had to cover his workload. We were 3 days from a major deadline, and if we missed it, I'd lose an $18,000 contract. Vanessa had texted me earlier asking if I wanted to go out with her friends to some new club that had opened downtown. I'd said no, because I had deadlines. She responded with fine, and nothing else. Around midnight, I took a break and checked my phone. There it was, a photo of her at some rooftop bar, looking gorgeous in a black dress I'd bought her for Valentine's Day. Another $400 I probably shouldn't have spent but did anyway because I wanted her to feel special. The caption read, "Sometimes you have to lose me to realize my worth. Know your value and never settle." My first reaction was confusion, then anger, then something colder, clarity. I scrolled through the comments. Her friends were hyping her up with Queen, and his loss, and you deserve better, and he doesn't know what he's missing. I noticed she'd tagged the location, some expensive spot downtown that charges $20 for a cocktail. I also noticed she'd posted it to her story with a song overlay, some breakup anthem about moving on and being independent. I liked the post. That was it. Just hit the heart button and set my phone down. I didn't comment, didn't text her, didn't call. I went back to work. She texted me 15 minutes later. "Really? That's all you have to say?" I didn't respond. She called 3 times. I declined each one and put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I finished the code I was working on, tested it twice, sent it to the client, and went to bed around 3 a.m. Update 1. The next morning, I woke up to 17 text messages from Vanessa. They started apologetic. "I was just venting. I didn't mean it like that," and "Can we please talk about this?" and escalated to angry. "You're really going to ignore me over a post? This is exactly what I'm talking about, and you're being so immature right now." I finally responded around noon. "I think we need to take a break." My phone rang immediately. I answered. "A break? Are you serious right now?" Her voice was sharp, defensive. "Yeah, I am. You put our relationship on blast to hundreds of people instead of talking to me like an adult. That's not how this works." I was expressing my feelings, Marcus. I'm allowed to have feelings. You're allowed to have them. You're not allowed to humiliate me publicly and expect me to be okay with it. I didn't name you. Nobody knows it's about you. Vanessa, your entire friend group knows we're together. Your coworkers know. Your family knows. Don't insult my intelligence." There was a long pause. Then her voice changed, got softer, almost childlike. "Baby, I'm sorry. I was drunk and upset. You weren't there and I felt alone and I posted without thinking. Can we please just talk about this in person?" "Not right now. I need space to think." "Space? For how long?" "I don't know. I'll reach out when I'm ready." "Marcus, please. Don't do this. We can work through this." "I'm not sure we can. Every time you're upset, instead of talking to me, you make a scene. This isn't the first time." She started crying. "What are you talking about? When else have I done this? The passive-aggressive posts about recognizing your worth whenever we disagree about money. The stories about outgrowing people when I can't make it to every social event. I'm tired, Vanessa. I'm tired of being your villain." "You're not my villain. I love you. Then why don't you act like it?" My voice came out harder than I intended. Love isn't just a word. It's actions. It's respect. It's not putting the persons you supposedly care about on blast for likes. She was full-on sobbing now. The old me would have caved immediately, would have apologized even though I'd done nothing wrong, would have shown up at her door with flowers. This time, I felt nothing but exhaustion. "I have to go, Vanessa. Take care of yourself." I hung up before she could respond. The first week was hard. I missed her, or at least I missed the idea of her. I missed having someone to text good morning to, someone to share small wins with, someone to fall asleep next to. But I also felt lighter, like I'd been carrying a weight I didn't realize was there. I threw myself into work. I hired 2 new developers, signed another major client worth $240,000 annually, and started looking at office spaces in earnest. My business partner, Derek, noticed the change. "You seem different," he said during a meeting at a coffee shop we frequented. "But different." "Focused." "Just trying to level up," I told him. "Whatever it is, keep it up. We're killing it right now. That new client alone puts us in a completely different bracket." "Yeah, I'm thinking we can finally afford that downtown office space, the one near the tech hub." Derek grinned. "Hell yeah, look at you, making boss moves." Vanessa tried reaching out a few times over the next month, texts that I kept brief and non-committal, a couple of calls I didn't answer. She sent me a long email in early April, explaining how she'd been reflecting and wanted to work on things, how she understood now that she'd been unfair. I read it twice, but never responded. Eventually, she stalked. I assumed she'd moved on. Honestly, I was starting to as well. I started going to the gym regularly again, something I'd neglected while trying to keep up with Vanessa's social calendar. I reconnected with old friends I'd lost touch with. I took my mom out to dinner and actually enjoyed the conversation instead of checking my phone every 5 minutes for a text from Vanessa, asking when I'd be done. My life felt like mine again. Update 2. Then, I met Alicia. It was early May, about 2 months after the breakup. I was at a coffee shop near the office space I was considering leasing, working on a proposal for a potential client. She was there working on her laptop at the table next to mine, completely absorbed in whatever she was designing. She had this energy about her, focused but relaxed, confident without needing to broadcast it. No flashy jewelry, no designer bag prominently displayed, just a woman working, unbothered by anyone around her. We made eye contact a few times when we both reached for the sugar at the condiment station. The third time, I just smiled and said, "I think we might be creatures of habit." She laughed. "Is it that obvious? I've been coming here every Tuesday and Thursday for 6 months. Same. Well, I'm scouting it out actually, thinking of working from here once I lease the office space down the street." "Oh, you're taking the tech startup space? The one on 5th? You know it? I designed their website last year. Small world." We started talking. Turned out she was a freelance graphic designer, had her own clients, understood the grind of building something from nothing. She'd left a corporate design job 3 years ago to go independent and never looked back. She talked about her work with genuine passion, not as a means to an end or something to fund a lifestyle, but because she actually loved what she did. We exchanged numbers, and over the next few weeks, we kept running into each other at the same coffee shop. It became our thing. We'd work in comfortable silence, occasionally bouncing ideas off each other. Coffee turned into lunch, lunch turned into dinner, and by June, we were officially dating. Alicia was different from Vanessa in every way that mattered. She drove a used Honda Civic she'd paid off years ago and maintained meticulously. She cooked dinner at home instead of insisting we go out 4 nights a week, and she was actually a great cook. She asked about my business goals and actually listened to my answers, offered suggestions, celebrated wins with me. She had her own money, her own ambitions, and didn't need me to fund a lifestyle to feel valuable. When I told her about the new office space, she got genuinely excited and helped me plan the layout. When I landed a major client, she baked me a celebratory cake from scratch, instead of expecting me to take her to an expensive restaurant. We kept things low-key for the first month. No social media posts, no public displays. It wasn't about hiding, it was just about building something real without outside noise. We both agreed that our relationship was ours, not content for the internet. But eventually, we went public. It was early July, and we were at a food festival downtown. It wasn't planned, we just happened to be there, trying different vendors, laughing at ridiculous menu descriptions. Alicia took a selfie of us in front of a taco truck, posted it to her Instagram with a caption about trying new things and being happy. Nothing dramatic, nothing pointed. Just a genuine moment, captured. I didn't think about Vanessa when she posted it. Honestly, Vanessa hadn't crossed my mind in weeks. Update 3. That changed 3 hours later when my phone started blowing up. Mutual friends were texting me, some congratulating me, others with the eye emoji and nothing else. Then, Derek sent me a screenshot with the message, "Bro, your ex is wilding." It was from Vanessa's Instagram story. She'd somehow found Alicia's photo, probably through mutual friends or just searching for my name, and reposted it with the caption, "Interesting. Guess he had time after all. Funny how priorities change." I stared at it for a minute, then put my phone away. Alicia noticed, "Everything okay?" "Yeah, just my ex being dramatic." She raised an eyebrow but didn't push. "You want to talk about it?" "Not really. She'll get over it." But Vanessa didn't get over it. Over the next week, she posted several thinly veiled rants about men who switch up and women who glow up after getting their hearts broken. She'd lost weight, changed her hair to a dramatic platinum blonde, and was posting constantly from expensive restaurants and clubs. The comments were always the same, her friends telling her she looked amazing, that she was thriving, that her ex, me, was missing out on a queen. The thing was, I wasn't missing out. I was genuinely happier than I'd been in years. My business was thriving. We'd just signed our biggest client yet, a tech company that needed a complete system overhaul worth nearly $500,000 over 2 years. I'd leased the office space. My relationship with Alicia was easy, supportive, drama-free. I was sleeping better, eating better, actually enjoying my life instead of constantly trying to maintain someone else's image. Then she showed up at my office. It was a Thursday afternoon in late July, about 3 weeks after the Instagram incident. My assistant, Jenny, buzzed me. "There's a Vanessa here to see you?" "She says it's important." I sighed. "Send her in." She walked into my office looking like she'd prepared for a photo shoot. Full makeup, designer outfit I'd never seen before, expensive heels. She sat down across from my desk without being invited, looking around at the space. "Nice place?" she said, her tone hard to read. "I see the business is doing well." "This is way nicer than that co-working space you were in." "It is." "What do you want, Vanessa?" "I wanted to see you. Talk. We didn't really get closure. We broke up 4 months ago. That was the closure. You didn't break up with me. You asked for space and then moved on with someone else. We were done, Vanessa." The space was me being polite about it. Her jaw tightened. "So, you just replaced me? Like I meant nothing? 3 years, Marcus. 3 years? And you replaced me in 2 months. I didn't replace you. I met someone after we ended things. That's how life works." "How long after? How long after you asked for space did you start dating her? Does it matter?" "Yes, Marcus, it matters. I deserve to know if you were already checking out of our relationship before you ended it." I leaned back in my chair, studying her. She looked good, I'd give her that. But there was something brittle about her, something performative in the way she was sitting, the way she'd positioned herself, like even now in my office she was posing. 2 months. I met her 2 months after we broke up, at a coffee shop, completely by chance. There was no overlap, no emotional cheating, nothing like that. She laughed, but it sounded bitter. 2 months, so you weren't even trying to fix things with us. There was nothing to fix. You made it clear what you valued, and it wasn't me. It was what I could provide. The trips, the restaurants, the lifestyle. I was funding an image, not building a partnership. That's not fair. Isn't it? When's the last time you asked about my business, without immediately following it up with how we could spend the money I was making? When's the last time you suggested we save for something together instead of spending on the next experience for your Instagram? She was quiet, her eyes getting shiny. You posted that I wasn't worth it, Vanessa. On social media, for everyone to see. You made our relationship, our problems, public entertainment. What exactly was I supposed to fight for after that? I didn't mean it like that. I was just upset because you weren't there and my friends were asking about you, and I felt stupid having to make excuses again. So you threw me under the bus for validation from people who barely know me? That's supposed to make it better? She stood up abruptly, wrapping her arms around herself. I made a mistake, okay? I was angry and hurt, and I handled it badly. But we were together for 3 years, Marcus. Doesn't that count for something? Don't I deserve a chance to fix this? You had chances. Every time I tried to talk to you about my concerns, you shut me down or made me feel guilty for not giving you enough. I was never enough for you, Vanessa. Not because I wasn't trying, but because there was no amount of effort that would ever be enough. You wanted someone who could fund an endless lifestyle upgrade, and that's not who I am. Her voice got smaller. Is she really better than me? Your new girlfriend? She's different. She's content. With herself, with her life, with what we're building together. She doesn't need external validation to feel worthy. That's not better or worse, it's just healthier. For me, for us. Vanessa walked toward the door, then stopped and turned back. Her makeup was starting to run a little. Are you really happy with her? Yeah, I really am. She nodded slowly, her hand on the doorknob. I hope she knows what she has. She does, I said quietly. That's the difference. She left without another word. I sat there for a few minutes staring at the door, waiting to feel something, regret, sadness, nostalgia. But all I felt was relief. Closure. Real closure. Not the manufactured kind people post about on social media. Final update. It's been 3 months since that conversation. Vanessa deleted most of her social media posts from that dramatic period and seems to have moved on. She's dating someone new, a guy named Brett who, from what I can tell through mutual friends, works in finance and drives a Porsche. But for her. I genuinely hope she's happy and that she's found someone whose lifestyle matches her expectations. I don't wish her any ill will. Alicia and I are still together, stronger than ever. We moved in together last month. A modest 2-bedroom in a good neighborhood that we actually need, not some overpriced apartment to impress people. The rent is reasonable, and we're splitting everything fairly. We're building something real, something sustainable. My business is thriving. The new office is fully operational with 15 employees now. We just landed another huge contract. I'm on track to double revenue this year, and for the first time, I actually have significant savings and investments. Real security, not just income going out as fast as it comes in. Alicia and I are talking about buying a house next year, maybe getting a dog. Normal, boring, beautiful life goals. No drama, no performance, just partnership. The funny thing about Vanessa's original post is that she was right. Sometimes you do have to lose someone to realize their worth. She just didn't realize she was the one who needed to learn that lesson. I wasn't the one who lost value when we broke up. I gained it back. Edit 1. A lot of people are asking if I ever regretted not fighting harder for the relationship. Honestly, no. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. She showed me I was a bank account with a boyfriend attached, and no amount of love on my part was going to change that fundamental incompatibility. Edit 2. To everyone saying Alicia is a rebound, we've been together 7 months now, and it's the healthiest relationship I've ever had. Sometimes the right person comes along exactly when you finally have the clarity to recognize them. Also, there's nothing wrong with moving on when a relationship ends. Life doesn't pause just because someone else isn't ready to let go. Edit 3. Someone asked if I think Vanessa was a gold digger. I don't think it's that simple. I think she was insecure and tried to fill that void with external validation, expensive things, impressive experiences, social media attention. That's not gold digging, that she's sad. I hope she figures out that her worth isn't tied to her lifestyle or her relationship status. Everyone deserves to learn that lesson eventually.